And so today I wanted to talk about, again, another 180-degree mindset shift on sales and on selling cash-based services that will, number one, like get you more patients and also help you get patients to stay longer. Where this is kind of coming from is I've talked to a few people over the past couple of weeks who are in this kind of like place where they're worried about their prices. This is you. Comment me in the comments and let me know if this is you right now. But like the people I've talked to are in this place where they're worried about pricing. So they're worried about what other people will think about their prices. They're in a place where they are just kind of like hoping and praying that like new patients call them or that new leads will call them back, and they're just kind of like waiting on the patient to like make a move. They're hoping that the patients that they get in for an evaluation are going to be willing to buy something. Or they might be hoping that, now that they have a patient in and they're there for the eval and they have like an initial plan of care, like, yay, great. Like they're hoping that the patient is going to stay longer. And if you have questions on that, please drop a comment and let me know if you have questions on like how to get patients to continue past their initial plan of care, and we can always talk about that on another video. But so like if you're in this place, drop a comment me where you feel like you're just like kind of like hoping and praying that things go the way that you want them to, and you're not really sure how to like take a little bit more of like the reins and a little bit more of control over the situation, so that things kind of like work out the way that you want them to. So if this is you, this video is 100% for you. And so what I like to do in like this kind of like mindset shift that I wrote in the caption, this 180-degree like super flip, is going from being in that place that I just described, which is very passive, and like just hoping that people come, without really like doing anything to take the initiative. And we are going to change over to being active in the relationship with our clients, with our like leads, with anybody that we're interacting with in a professional manner. And in order to get there, it involves taking an active step into the leadership role that you now have in your practice and in all of your relationships with your clients, instead of like leaning back and leaning away from it and like hoping that the patient will tell you what they want to do. So like this is like so key. If you feel like you're kind of like struggling with this right now, identifying this as an opportunity to step into a leadership role and develop leadership skills is going to just like, it's going to change your world as far as when it comes to, selling things to patients or keeping patients on. If you like authentically and purposefully step into a leadership role in this position that you now find yourself in, things are going to get a lot better quicker, and everybody's going to be on the same page, and it's going to be a really amazing thing. And we can talk about some examples of that in a second. Essentially, like the reason why leadership is so important as a practice owner, as like a solo practice, is because people, like as a private professional, when people come to you and they hire you, they are stepping outside of the traditional healthcare model, right? And so like they know that they're kind of stepping into unknown territory, and they don't really know how to like handle that situation necessarily. And so when they are looking to you and looking for your help, like they really are looking for you to tell them what to do every step of the way. And if you are not able to do that and not able to be the guide who communicates well and sets expectations, that's where things can get like a little bit fuzzy. And that's where you kind of experience like this gray area of, I don't know if they're going to call me back. Like, I don't know if they're going to schedule. I don't really know what they're thinking. And like, obviously a lot of it comes down to communication. And the way that I like to look at it is like, you're, not only practicing good communication with your clients or potential clients, but you are also taking the lead role, like you're taking them by the hand and guiding them through the process and the entire like client or patient success journey, because they don't know that journey and you are there to help guide them through that. And if you put the burden of trying to like, make the client or the patient choose what comes next, most likely they're not going to choose anything because they just don't know. And that's where like the sales can kind of like fall or drop off. And if you have experienced this, please like comment below and let me know. So I'd love to hear, your story and your feedback on this. But that's like the main point, and what will really like change every step of your client success journey, every step of your sales process, from being scary to being like, okay, like I know what to do. I know how I need to communicate with this person and see like what is going to be the next best step to help them get where they want to go. It's like some examples of this pretty quickly is having like a good understanding of what you want like your journey to look like. When you have like a new patient inquiry, what's the next thing that happens? For me, it's often like a phone call or texting back and forth, like if it's somebody that I know, but it's like a phone call to start, to say like, hey, Mr. Smith, like tell me a little bit more about what's going on. And then my goal on that initial phone call is to determine if Mr. Smith is a good fit for the next step, which is an evaluation. I'm not thinking past that. It's just, do I think I can help him on that call? Great. Like the next step is to come in for an evaluation. And at that time, we'll figure out together a little bit more in depth about what's going on. And then I'll help you come up with a plan for your next best steps to resolve your problem, whether it's working with me or not. And I think that's really key, like having that kind of conversation at the end of that initial phone call and saying like, this is what you can expect at the next step. That's going to set you up for success. Not only because like the patient like knows what to expect and knows what's happening, you know what to expect, and you also set yourself up for success in a way where now like your only responsibility on the evaluation is, would they be suitable for a plan of care or not? And those are like kind of the two choices, and it's not like all these possibilities that are out there. It's just like, are they a good fit or are they not? And then at the end of the evaluation, say they're a good fit. Great, you can explain your initial plan of care or the initial way that you help people to the patient in front of you, get their buy-in with that and tell them what to expect during their plan of care while working with you and what the journey is going to look like, and outline that for them. And they, are going to be right there with you and right on the same page, and most people really appreciate that. Kind of like going back to what I was saying, and I've talked about it a little bit before here in the group, where like I know myself, when I have been a patient and I have sought out like specialty healthcare, like working with a provider, straight like direct to patient, direct to client, instead of like going through the gamut of all the things, like I've just sought out the provider. I want to speak with them and I want to talk to them and explain what my problem is and have them present me with like an initial plan in order to find the solution. And that has always been the most helpful thing for me. And that's what most of our clients and our patients want, is they want us to evaluate them and give them our honest opinion and honest suggestions on how to resolve their problem and what that journey will look like and what to expect. So I hope that makes sense. If you have questions on that, drop those in the comments and I'll make sure to get back to you. I know. And so like one key thing here, like, you might be saying, okay, Morgan, like this is all fine and good, but I'm like so worried about pricing. Like, what if they say it's too expensive, or like whatever it is? You're all in your head about like the cost of something. And I think that's a really tough place to be, because if you enter these like conversations with a potential client and you don't even have a relationship yet, you don't even know if they're a good fit for your services, and you get all worked up about the pricing, it's going to show. They're going to pick up on like some kind of uncomfy vibe from you, and that's not going to like bode well for anybody. But then like you're also so worried about like focusing on the price of something that you're not going to be able to deliver the quality that the person in front of you needs. And most of the time it's about laying out a plan for a patient or a potential client and showing them like their path to a solution. And then pricing is kind of just something that happens like on the back end. It's kind of like the last minor detail, the last thing on top of that conversation to figure out. And there are ways to make your plan work for somebody within your pricing, make it work for everybody. And if you'd like a video on that, let me know in the comments. And this is like, it's a huge shift. Believe me, I know, because I feel like I stayed stuck in that like weird, like, oh my God, like the price, like nobody's gonna pay that. I stayed there and let myself stay there for too long, and so like if that's you, like please do some thinking on this. And I really encourage you to, instead of like going into these conversations with like first thinking like pricing and then thinking about like, can I help this person, and then like trying to be a leader, flip that list and take the role of being a leader seriously. And that in that situation, in that interaction with a potential client, they are looking to you to tell them what to do. Whether it's working with you or not, they want you to tell them what it is to do next in order to help resolve their problem. That's the main thing. Like people who come to you and like their first concern is price, they're probably not your ideal client. For a lot of us here who, we are doing like premium specialty healthcare, no matter what price we're doing, it's non-traditional, so it puts us in kind of like a different category. That people who are price shopping like are probably not our ideal clients. And there are ways to have conversations around that to see if, their main concern really is the price, or if like that they just didn't know what else to ask you to see if it was a good fit. So you really need to focus on taking that lead and guiding them through the process and telling them what step is next and what to expect. And like they may or may not tell you, but I know, like I was saying, myself as a patient, I've always been so grateful whenever I've worked with somebody and they've helped me find my way instead of me trying to figure it out on my own. That it's going to have a huge impact on the people that you work with. I hope that makes sense. I'd love to hear, what questions or feedback or comments you guys have about this topic, where like the main thing, and like what I wrote in the description, the main thing that I want you to take away from this is if you feel like you are either like physically or like metaphorically like leaning back from new opportunities that come to you because you're worried and you don't want to like step on any toes, and you're just kind of like hoping for the client or patient in front of you to like say like, yes, I'd love to work with you, without you really like taking like too much of a lead in that situation. If you're feeling kind of just like weird about like pricing and like how to get patients to actually like commit and work with you, I'd love to hear if any of this resonates with you. Like if you're feeling this stuff, I really encourage you over the next couple of weeks, try with either your current patients or any like new inquiries you get, purposely like level yourself up and step into, like I said, and I keep saying, the leadership role, be the captain in that relationship, guide the conversation, figure out what the next best steps are, and tell them. Pricing aside, put that aside, whatever your professional clinical judgment is, based on their situation, what should the next best step be, and tell them. More often than not, they'll say okay, and they'll move forward with you. I think you'll be surprised. So I'd love to hear, if you're planning on trying that, and any results that you get from it. And like I said, let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you on the next one.